You're a wizard, Harry. I mean, Gandalf.
I'm a what?
A wizard. And a thumping good 'un, I'd wager.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Food Culture Knowledge. We are continuing our review of Season 2 of Rings of Power. Today we're doing the fourth episode, or the second one that has been released overall this season. If you recall, the first three episodes were released all at once last week, so we're in our second week of the season, but our fourth episode. Fortunately, today we have a little less to cover. With three episodes to cover in the first week, you couldn't really delve as much into the nitty gritty. But as we have one hour long episode, we can spend a bit more time on what actually happens in the episode, and we can talk about some lore as it relates to the books, what's real, what's not. There is one thing I wanted to note from last week. We were talking about, do dwarves farm? Well, I've been rereading the Silmarillion lately. Before that, I did my periodical reread of Lord of the Rings. Now I'm on the Silmarillion. And I came across a quote that sheds some light on that. It's by Yavanna to Ole when he was creating the dwarves. Yavanna is upset because Ole didn't tell her that he was creating these beings. And she gives this quote in the book. "Yet because thou hidest this thought from me until its achievement, thy children will have little love for the things of my love. They will love first the things made by their own hands, as doth their father. They will delve in the earth, and the things that grow and live upon the earth they will not heed. Many a tree shall feel the bite of their iron without pity." So as Yavanna was kind of the Valar who represented nature, her name literally meant giver of fruit. So, you know, based on this quote, I have a hard time seeing dwarves ever being farmers, ever growing things. Now it's not 100%. You know, it doesn't rule out that dwarves can be farmers, but I think it's unlikely that they ever would, based on this quote and based on a couple of other things Eru says to Ole. Give me your thoughts if you think it's possible dwarves could be farmers. I say no. Getting right to it, the episode begins by showing us the elves in Lindon. We see Galadriel and Elrond setting out on the journey that Gil-galad had ordered them to go on to Eregion to help Celebrimbor. So they're preparing for this journey. It's about 500 miles, I think. I'd say probably closer to 500 miles, I think, between Eregion and Lindon. So they got quite a journey ahead of them. Now, one sin the show has been committing since the very beginning has been to kind of shrink Middle-earth, where we lose a sense of scale and scope because characters just pop up in one location or the other instantaneously. We don't see them undertaking any kind of journey, and we don't get a feel of the vastness of Middle-earth. We all remember how long it took just for Frodo and the rest of the hobbits to get from Hobbiton to Rivendell, and it wasn't an insignificant time. It took half of the first movie, Fellowship of the Ring, in order for them to get there, and that gave us an appreciation for how far things were, how big Middle-earth is. So here they show them actually traveling through. We get some of those old school walking through mountain shots that we loved of New Zealand back when the original movies came out. We start seeing an exploration of Galadriel's relationship with Nenya, her ring, the Ring of Adamant. And the show is portraying the ring as being able to give her foresight. Now, whether or not this is actual lore, I'm not sure. I don't think so. The rings do, I think, give you a bit of foresight, but not kind of as strongly as and explicitly as the show is saying. Remember, Galadriel used the mirror of Galadriel, to see far into the distance, into the future. Now, technically, the mirror was powered by her ring, as was all of Lothlorien. So you could say that the ring could give you that strong power of foresight and foreknowledge. I'm not 100% sure, but I guess we can roll with it. So she's seeing all these scenes of destruction in the future. Particularly, we see one scene of the coming of the siege of Eregion. That if you've read the books, you know what's coming there. And if you haven't read the books, just spoiler alert, there's going to be a lot of spoilers here. So if you don't want to know, definitely stop watching right now. She also has visions of the peril they will encounter on their journey. We see they come to a bridge that has been destroyed. Galadriel, I guess, foresees that it was Sauron who did it, who caused the destruction. So she's trying to guide the party to Eregion based on the visions she's having, and Elrond's not having any of it. Clearly, he's lost his trust in Galadriel. So there's a lot of friction between the two. What were two best friends last season now have a lot of friction between them, and it's hard to blame Elrond from his perspective because Galadriel lied about having a relationship, friendship, whatever, with Sauron. So yeah, can't blame him for not trusting her at this point. So their journey continues along. They go, I guess what would be in the future the Shire. They're going along that path, and they come to the Barrow Downs, which you may remember from Fellowship of the Ring, the book. It was never shown in the movies, but in the book we explored the Barrow Downs, and they really don't do too much with it. You can tell that they're just kind of using the Barrow Downs as a device, a member berry device that, hey, do you remember the Barrow Downs from the books? It is cool to see the Barrow Downs, but they don't really do too much with it except for, hey, some ghosts and let's have a fight scene with them. So to me, that was really not impactful, the Barrow Downs scene. And then they continue on and they come across an orc party. And I assume this is along the same path. They're somewhere between maybe Bree and future Rivendell, where Rivendell will eventually be. So I'm guessing they're along that road and they encounter this party that's led by Adar. And they get into a skirmish. Galadriel sends the other elves away. She gets captured herself by Adar. And that's where their arc ends for this episode. So I was not expecting to see the orcs and especially Adar on this side of the Misty Mountains in Eriador. So I'm kind of curious where they're going with that. I figured the orcs would cross the Misty Mountains a little later on, but they've already got something cooking over there. So let's see where that arc goes. Also, apparently, Nenya, Galadriel's ring gives her the power to heal people even from mortal wounds. So I guess she's like Baby Yoda now. Just put a hand on it and, everything's healed. I don't know if I buy that one, but hey, why not? Over in Rune, we meet Tom Bombadil. That was interesting. I swear to God, I thought that was Hagrid. It sounded a bit like Hagrid. He looked like Hagrid. I didn't feel like I was watching Tom Bombadil come to life. Now, Bombadil is one of the most mysterious characters in Tolkien's Legendarium. Actually, I would say he's the most mysterious character because Tolkien intentionally left him as kind of a blank canvas on which for readers to project, their own feelings, their own fantasies of what the character might be. There are a lot of theories out there that he's one of the Vala, he's Eru Ilúvatar himself, or he's a manifestation of Earth, of Arda itself. So there are a lot of theories out there, and no one knows for sure because Tolkien didn't want it known for sure. He wanted to kind of leave that to everyone's imagination. Personally, I would lean towards Bombadil being manifestation of the Earth itself. If you look at the clues that's provided in the reading material, he's kind of like one with nature, one with the earth. These supernatural laws really don't apply to him. For example, he slips on the ring while Frodo is in his home in Fellowship of the Ring, and it has no effect on him. He doesn't disappear or anything else. So he is some sort of supernatural being. I think that's a safe assumption. And I think it's safe to assume, you know, especially with Goldberry and her being his wife and the way they describe Goldberry, that he's an Earth-like manifestation. So as far as this show goes, they show Tom Bombadil being in Rune for whatever reason. I mean, I guess you can put him there. There's no reason why you couldn't, even though he lived in the old forest in at Iodor, you know, right next to the Shire. So I guess there's no reason why you can't have him traveling around. But the problem is, it doesn't feel natural. Everything they show with Bombadil is very heavy-handed, in my opinion. It doesn't feel like you're really watching Bombadil. He's a very serious character in this, and if you remember from the books, he's completely lighthearted, merry. He doesn't have the cares of the world on him, and that's because he really doesn't. He's apart from the rest of the world and its beings. So here they kind of show him being like very stoic, serious. I didn't buy that performance or that interpretation of Bombadil at all. They even stole so many things from the book itself. Like, if you remember, there's Old Man Willow in the Old Forest that Bombadil helps the hobbits escape from. Well, they took Old Man Willow and just changed his name to Old Man Ironwood and stuck him in the desert in Rune. It's really pathetic. They just kind of copy and pasted that entire story, the entire scene onto here. And you see that throughout this episode and, of course, the show up to date. They really don't have stories of their own to tell, so they just throw in member berries that randomly show up in the books and try to move along the story through them, but it doesn't work. And that's what Bombadil is kind of here. He's just kind of a member berry that, hey, do you remember Tom Bombadil from the books? Don't you want to see him in, you know, TV form, in cinema form? Don't you want to see him on the big screen? And yeah, we do. Bombadil is such a cool character if he's done right. He's very cool in the books, a little bit annoying sometimes maybe, but he's cool in the sense that there's unlimited potential as to what you could do with him. But this is really underwhelming in my opinion. They just kind of show him milling around in Rune for no reason, just because the story and the directors want him there. There's really no other reason for him to be there, other than to, I guess, kind of tell Gandalf, "You're a wizard." Now, one thing that I did like was kind of that little Goldberry callback that they had, where we hear her singing a line, and then, you know, she's not there. So I would have liked to have seen Goldberry. Not that they probably would have done justice with her character at all, but, you know, if we're showing Bombadil, I'd like to see Goldberry. But at least, you know, we kind of get a callback to her. We get to hear her voice, so she's somewhere in this universe. One thing about Bombadil, he's got a goat named Adwine. If you remember his, I believe it's his elf name. The elves call him Adwin Ben Adad, he who is fatherless, or excuse me, he who is eldest and fatherless. And he's got a goat named Adwine. I thought that was really weird, but hey, the show was really weird too. So just an interesting little trivia piece if you didn't know why the goat was called that. That's why I'm guessing they named him. Moving along to another part of Rune, we come across the Stour hobbits that are somehow in Rune also. Nori and her friend, I forget her name, they stumble across Stour hobbits in Rune. How the hell this is the case, I have no idea. The Stours were in the Vales of the Anduin. And of course, the hobbits weren't even supposed to be around till like 1,000 years into the Third Age, so we're all making this up anyway, so why not the hell put them in the middle of the desert in Rune? But it's really, really weird. If you know the lore, this is pretty jarring to see this. But hey, let's go along with this and have some fun. You know, we're we got some Irish desert people going along here, I guess, now. Again, like everything else with the show, it's a heavy-handed. We don't really get any insight into the Stores other than as a plot device to save Nori and her friend. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense for this to be here, and if you are going to put it in, at least do something with it. It doesn't look like they will, other than just kind of like member berries that, hey, remember there's stores in this world. One note, if you remember, Smeagol was a Stoor hobbit, and he was living by the Anduin. I believe it was the Gladden Fields. He was specifically living by the Gladden Fields when he found the ring with Deagle. So, just as a wink, we do know the Stores a little bit. So yeah, these are Gollum's ancestors. I suppose what their backstory will be is that they were desert-faring people, and then they're looking for a more permanent home. They refer to Suzat, which I'm assuming will, of course, be the Shire by the time the Third Age rolls around. But they're looking for, I guess, their permanent home. And what they'll show them is migrating across to the Anduin area, and then, eventually, I guess they'll reach the Shire area or whatever. I don't know if the Stores ever actually definitively get to the Shire. I think they're the one group that no one's really sure what happened to them. But, they'll at least start moving westward in that direction at the very least. We can see that they're trying to make a connection between the Harfoots and the Stores through Sadok. Why? I'm not sure. We don't need that. But, they have, I guess, one of Sadok's ancestors having left to find the Shire whenever many years ago. And that's how the Harfoots and the Stores are connected. So I guess that would make the Harfoots children of the Stores. The Stores are their ancestors, I guess, according to the legendarium they're going by. Sure, whatever. But yeah, the entire scenes with the Harfoots and Stores were pretty unaffecting. Nori starts one of her stupid speeches about her purpose in this wider world and how she's got to find it. She's on a journey. No one wants to hear this crap at this point. No one wanted to hear it to begin with, but it's getting old and repetitive and really, really annoying at this point. There's another wink to Gandalf being Gandalf, or the stranger being Gandalf, when the head Stoor, I think the Gund, calls him Grandelf. So, again, we're going to keep up this stupidity for longer to pretend like Gandalf isn't Gandalf. And at this point, I'm even expecting the stupidity of them trying to turn him into, Radagast or something, like switcheroo, I mean, why not just make him Manwë at this point? I don't care. It doesn't really matter. But it's all heavy-handed and pointless, in my opinion. This entire thing with Gandalf's identity. And from there, we go to the south that has absolutely no reason for, being shown. There's no story there for the Southerners right now. They've got nothing going on. Theo is captured. Arondir and Isildur and his girlfriend go after him. That love story is so stupid and tired and forced. No one wants to see it. Get rid of it. It was dumb to begin with, and it's dumb now. Don't waste any more time on it. But they use this entire kind of scene to introduce the Ents and the Entwives for the first time in Tolkien's screened lore. We see an Entwife, which is very cool. I will give credit to them bringing an Entwife on board. Unfortunately, they don't really delve into the Ent story at all. It's just their little plot devices to show us that, hey, they're Ents. They're member berries. They come for 5 minutes and then they go. I wish we, if we had to focus on the Southern story a little bit, we could have learned some of what the Ents were doing, some of their backstory, maybe explore some of their world a little bit, but they're just a passing member berry, so they had no real role there, which is a real shame because nothing in the Southlands that's happening is interesting whatsoever. By the end of the episode, Arondir is off, I assume, to... he said he's going to go find Adar, so I assume what will end up happening is he'll find Galadriel prisoner with them, and he'll free her, and yada yada yada. So I'm guessing that's where they're going. Theo and Isildur and I think Astrid, they're just going to be chilling in Pelargir, and nobody cares. So that arc is just vapid and useless. So that brings us to the end of the episode. Not much happens in this episode. We get a lot of member berries, a lot of callbacks to the books, but as far as actually moving the story forward, it doesn't really happen at all. There's no plot movement, and again, I don't expect any with this show. At this point, the show is what it is, which is a bad show. I still watch because it's Tolkien, and while it hurts to watch it mangled, I still watch it. So I just try to fill in the lore where I can. That's why I'm doing the review of this, to kind of do the comparison of what they're showing versus what, Tolkien's lore is. Alright, that's it for this episode. We're just kind of spinning our wheels here at this point, waiting for the plot to go, but again, I don't expect much. The show is what it is at this point, but it's still a good chance for us to learn more about Tolkien's world, his lore, and hopefully this video is giving you a better idea of that. But yeah, otherwise I enjoyed doing the review, at least. If not, watching the episode, the reviews are fun to do. And I appreciate all of you watching. Till next week and the next episode. Please honor us by hitting that subscribe button if you liked this video.